in the grocery store, and for the first time in so long there's products that I actually recognize, and it is so exciting. There's even like tortilla chips, which is cool. Pretty fancy store.
Let's leave everything and go traveling. See what tomorrow brings. It's only a choice away. Let's back up and leave today. Let's see what tomorrow brings.
Well, from our fuel stop into Pisa, we headed for Sucre. Sucre is a nice little city, and we had heard good things about it. After the lack of civilization we had been in, we were all excited to see what it had to offer.
Oh, it's mustard, all right. Hi, Tonto!
As we drove, we took in the sights. Lots of mines, forgotten villages, and of course, we are always on the lookout for land cruisers.
That's amazing. What's cool is it looks like a mine in Colorado, arrow-wise, but it's still in use. I mean, some of the buildings aren't, but it looks like...
Been there for a long time.
Yeah. 76 series. I love the old front end. It's a big archway. Did not see that coming.
Fancy.
Alright. Wow. The height of it is what's crazy. It seems like the scale messes with your mind even. It's so big. Jeez.
Once we arrived in Sucre, we remembered with civilization comes traffic, the thing I hate most about cities. It took us a while to locate our little Airbnb, which we shared with Shannon and other Tim. It sat above the hustle and bustle of Sucre's Mercado Negro, which is the madness we are trying to make our way through here. We couldn't find the gate to our Airbnb at first because it turned out we had to ask a few street vendors to pick up and move their little shops so we could open the gate and get the trucks through. It also happened to be right next to the main bus terminal, which caused a lot of traffic, as you can see. But once we found the gate and settled into this simple little Airbnb, it proved to be a good place to watch the craziness without being in it, which I much prefer. I love just watching and listening to the sights and sounds of the street below. We also checked out the downtown, which boasts many colonial-era Spanish buildings, and dinosaurs that help you cross the street. We extended our visas, which need to be renewed in person every 30 days in Bolivia. Then we rewarded ourselves with some beer. And just like that, we were off again. This time headed for the biggest city in Bolivia, Santa Cruz De La Sierra.
amazing. Like, this is the most, well, the northern part of Bolivia was that really hot jungle. This is like that gorgeous jungle, mountains, beautiful homes and estates. Yeah, I didn't see this coming at all. And we're, what do you think, 60 miles outside of Santa Cruz de Sierra?
Yep.
De La Sierra?
Yep.
So 60 miles outside the biggest city in Santa Cruz, and it just got really, really pretty, really nice. It's cool. No trash on the road hardly.
Yeah, it seems very different.
So well as your body.
Look at that corner spot.
Enjoying yourself.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Grass that's actually cut to length.
Gorgeous.
I mean, I haven't seen anything like this in months.
It's almost California-esque.
Yeah, just too tropical, too jungle.
Yeah,
But you're right, sort of that.
Maybe Hawaii is what I'm trying to think of.
Hawaii for sure. But you're right. There's like a California-ness, like a, I don't know, some of the mountains up near like Napa and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Wow, cool.
Soon, the beautiful countryside turned to a cityscape. And for the first time in Bolivia, we saw brands we recognized. KFC, a Hard Rock Cafe, Johnny Rockets, Starbucks, and there was even a Cinnabon. And yes, thanks to our patrons, we enjoyed a sweet morning treat. It's funny how exciting it is to see brands you know. We checked into yet another Airbnb. Sadly, the purpose of this stay was not relaxation, but truck maintenance. After we found our Airbnb, our first stop was a grocery store.
We're in the grocery store, and for the first time in so long, there's products that I actually recognize, and it is so exciting. There's even like tortilla chips, which is cool. Pretty fancy store.
That night, we had chips and homemade salsa. When you find all the ingredients to make salsa, you can't pass it up. Good morning. We are in Santa Cruz, and it is our first official full day here, and we are trying to get the oil changed in Goose. So Tim has been talking to a local that speaks English and has been helping us find a place to get oil. Any luck?
Okay, so I think, yes, it's a lubricante store, but it's really an oil change place.
Yeah.
So I think he meant that, you want to get the oil change? Because I asked, is there a place I could go to buy the oil that I specifically want? He goes, oh, there's a big place. It's got all the different kinds of oils. I think it's an oil change place, but if they have the right oil and good filters, I mean, it's fine. I'm so weird about letting anyone else touch the truck, because if they do something like cross-thread the drain plug or not put the filter on or overfill or underfill it.
Put the filter on too tight so you can't get it off next time.
Yeah, exactly. So we're sitting there with a hammer and a chisel trying to get it off. I think it's probably just best to let them do it. So it's done, and that's a thing off the list. And then based on what this place says, if they can get it actually done, then we'll do it. But it's funny, there's a line of cars around the block trying to get oil changes. It's 10 a.m. and they just close at noon. So it's like, but if there's a line around the block, you guys will just close? Yeah, I'm sure. It's just a different way of doing things.
Wow.
All right.
So wish us luck.
Thank you.
See you later.
We got the oil changed and all the knuckles greased, which is awesome. It was a bit expensive, but it's just expensive here because they import the oil. So nice to have a couple things checked off the list. The guys in there were hilarious. They were super funny, and they were really excited about the trip and stuff. So it was a good stop. Made me smile for sure. Anyways, I'm not sure what we're doing for the rest of the day, but we got a few things accomplished, so that's good.
8 hours later.
All right, welcome to Santa Cruz de la Sierra. We've been here, we got here yesterday, and then this morning we got up and started looking for car parts. A guy from, actually on Instagram, a guy named Diego, thank you. He reached out, introduced us. He's actually in Tulsa, Oklahoma right now, but he introduced us his friend Lorgio. Lorgio took us to an oil change place and made it cheaper and easier for us to get an oil change. So we let someone else do the first oil change of the trip, actually, that we haven't done ourselves. And then from there we went to an off-road shop. That guy tried to help me find parts for an ARB seal that's leaking on our lockers, up at the compressor actually.
This
and
is
then
the one where I want to go to the left,
Cool.
by the way.
And then we went to a shock place to ask about bushings. That led us to a place that sells Kings and Fox shocks, actually. And so we're gonna go there on Monday and try and get the Heim joint for the bottom of our Icon shocks. Always a bushing on the Icon shocks. To be fair, the original bushings did last like 8 years, 7 years, something like that. Long time. But of course now during the trip, they're all finding the end of their life. So you saw me in the early part of the trip replacing the upper shock bushings again and again and again.
Yeah.
Now we have real Icon ones or whatever they use. So they're fine. But then the lower, which is a Heim joint, are completely blown out, and we're worried they're just going to pop out, be metal on metal. So we hopefully on Monday are going to get that fixed. But we've driven around this town.
Oh my gosh, we've been everywhere.
Yeah, we've been around. I keep noticing places we've been past. I was like, oh yeah, we went by there yesterday. And, oh, we were there earlier an hour ago. It's now
Casa del 4x4.
Casa del 4x4, right? So there's a ton of off-road shops. They have Factor 55. They've got all the brands that we have in the U.S. So they're big off-roaders here, big into it. But man, what a day. Everything, there's no AutoZone, there's no Napa. You can't just walk in and say, I need a gas strut for the rear hatch. I need a bushing for this. I need a this for that. I think on the other side of town there's a place that'll have it. You drive there, they say, well, this location doesn't have it, and our other locations are all closed for the day, but on Monday you can try again. Sorry. Yeah, thank you. I'm getting brain dead at this point from driving around so many roundabouts, but the roundabouts also have lights, so you're in a roundabout, but then there's also a stoplight sometimes.
Sometimes you don't get to go around the roundabout. You stop 3 times before you get through it.
But it's a nice town, and people have been super nice. It's just so frustrating when everywhere you go, you're like, do you have this? And they go, oh no. But that place does. Here, I'll give you the address. And you look, and it's across the town. So we go across the town, and then that person says, I don't have it, but this person might. Or try on Monday. That's kind of the common thing. Car racing 4x4. Wow, a lot of 4x4 places around here.
This is close to us, so we can
Yeah,
go
this
back.
is close to us. So more places we can try on Monday. But we got the oil changed. We met a ton of cool people.
Yeah.
And they're all excited about the trip, but we're just roasted. And so finally, I'm excited to take our first shower since we've had the Airbnb. We haven't even really done any of that yet, so
Yeah.
it'd be nice to...
Last night was a rough night for me because the last place that we camped, we ate there, and the food was fine, but I think I drank the lemonade, and that was a bad idea.
That was the only difference between us, and
My
I feel
tummy has been upset.
I feel bad because there was the lemonade sitting there. I'm like, I'm sure it's fine, and now she's not feeling good. But yeah, just a stomach thing, not a serious illness or anything,
No.
thankfully.
Yeah, just makes for a long day.
Yeah, especially being in the truck.
Yeah.
So we are now going to do nothing, and then Sunday, tomorrow, we might go have lunch with Lorgio, but otherwise we're going to do nothing. And then on Monday, early in the morning, we're going to get back at it and try and get everything sorted out. Everything's really expensive in Bolivia in terms of parts and oil, because they import all their parts and all their oil. So the oil change was like, I think it was about $70.
Yeah.
So pretty darn expensive for semi-synthetic oil, but you know, what are you going to do? They're shipping it all in from places
They
like
also
the
grease
US
the
or
knuckles, which
Venezuela.
isn't worth a whole lot, but at
Yeah.
least there's something else in there.
So yeah, but you know, this has been definitely the nicest town in Bolivia. Sucre was nice, but Santa Cruz has like a Marriott and a lot of fancy stuff, but it's not really that cheap. And I know some people are going to go, I was in Bolivia, it was super cheap. Food's cheap, and labor is cheap if you need any sort of work done, but it is really nice, don't get me wrong. It's just it's interesting how the perception of Bolivia would be, oh, it's dirt cheap, and in some ways it is, but if you're paying the international price on fuel, it's not cheap. It's $4 and something, $4.50 per gallon.
Well, there's a whole event there, wasn't there, yesterday?
Okay, wow, there's a giant stage set up. We were just here yesterday, and none of us
That's
was
where
here.
we parked.
It is, what time is it right now?
2 o'clock?
2 o'clock, and it is time for us to do nothing since every shop is closed. We've been going all day so far,
Yep.
and we are going to get something to eat and a beer.
48 hours later.
10,000 kilómetros.
10,000 kilómetros.
Oh, just
Uy.
rod end, uniball, whatever you want to call it. It's got all this play to it. Just look at that back and forth. That's like a ½ inch movement, maybe a ¼ inch, but same. Just so it's got movement side to side, but also that. So the shock is flipping and flopping every single compression. And that's what we've been listening to for a really long time.
Uy.
So if we can get a rod end or a uniball, we're gonna do that. These guys do some racing. If we can't, then I think I'm gonna try and put in like an old man emu, the hourglass style bushing that go like that, press it in. At least we got a bushing, one that doesn't make a ton of noise. So yeah, we'll see.
Okay, so this morning we went to the shop, waited for the guy, drove to another shop, got the shocks off. That guy took the shocks and is hopefully getting them fixed somewhere. He had to take them, but that happened over lunch, so we waited for a few hours for lunch to be done. Got everything that we could get off. We got the upper arms off, I think that's what they are, but we can't pull the bushings or push new bushings in. So we had to wait for like 2 hours for lunch to be over. Another guy showed up, and Tim and him are now going to hopefully get those bushings pressed in. And I'm still not feeling great, so I just opted to hang out with the car, and I'm not much help today. But so I'm just sitting here waiting, hoping that by the end of the day something is accomplished, because it really feels hard to get anything done here. It's like you do one thing, take a break, show up late, take a break, do this, do that. It's really frustrating, but everyone's really nice, and hopefully we accomplish something today.
Well, by 6 p.m. with the sun going down, we still didn't have our shocks back, and were told mañana. So we cleaned up, feeling a bit downtrodden, and proceeded to make our way all the way across the city to our Airbnb without any rear suspension. It was interesting, to say the least.
Put in hydraulics.
Early the next morning,
Good morning. Day 2 of getting shocks replaced. The shocks are rebuilt, and we are back at a different location to put them in this morning. So we had a bouncy ride home and here this morning, and but hopefully everything goes on easily. So we'll see how they go on. So you got one shock on, and the next shock is being a little bit ornery.
Yeah, they could have a slightly different pressures in them or something, because the one I was able to compress is really hard. But then you can you start making progress against the pressure and then keep going. And we got that one on. This one, we can compress it a couple inches and that's it. It fights back after that. So don't know exactly the reason, probably just slightly different pressures between the two. But we're gonna put a little bottle jack under the base of the eyelid of the shock.
Perfect.
one eternity later.
Hello.
Okay.
So we're leaving Santa Cruz De La Sierra, Bolivia, and man, that town was completely different than every other town in Bolivia.
Different world.
Sucre was nice too. I mean, there's other nice towns in the country, but
Yeah.
that whole town, all of Santa Cruz, was pretty nice. We went and we drove around it at least 3 times.
Sorry.
Still working?
Yeah, autofocus was
Oh,
on.
okay. But we drove around it like at least 3 times. We saw most of the town, and there wasn't really a bad area. You'd be driving around the loop, and thered be a mansion or 5 mansions in a little block, and then it would go back to more normal. There was a giant bicycle shop that sold beers and stuff.
Yeah, craft
and
beers
like,
and
very, very forward thinking. From what some people had said to us that are from Santa Cruz, this is the town that sort of provides the tax dollars to pay
and
for
it's
the rest of
very
the country.
evident. Yeah.
yeah, this is where the business is. Tons of heavy equipment for sale.
It's also
nice cars,
interesting,
Mercedes dealership.
Like
you know.
this city is about, they would vote for a different president basically than most other places that we've been in the country.
Yeah. So it was nice. It was actually a cool town to hang out in. We got like hamburgers. We didn't eat local hardly at all, just because we were laying under the truck or in the truck driving around town trying to find parts. We got a lot done, but of course, as usual, it would be something that we could get done all in a 6-hour Saturday
It
or
takes
less.
so long to get anything done here.
Yeah, so it took us most of the time we were in Santa Cruz just finding parts and driving around to little tienda after tienda that sold auto parts. We went to the big tiendas, we went to the little ones. So now we're heading towards Brazil. It'll take us a couple of days at least to get there. And then we're not sure what we're going to do next. We want to go into the jungle and see animals and jaguars and all that cool stuff. But if it's real smoky and on fire, we might skip some of it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Right now we are heading towards the first gas station outside of town that says they will give you a local price, so we'll see how lucky we get with getting gas. And otherwise we are all stocked up. We got lots of water, we got lots of food.
Yeah, it was nice. We filtered as much water as we could carry from the Airbnb room that we were in. The water's not safe to drink from the tap, but we were just filtering it and putting it into every container we had. So we're as stocked up as you can get. All we need now is fuel, really, and then everything else we've got tons of for what, week, 2 weeks?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only updates we have for now.
That's all.
We'll see what we end up tonight.
Thank you all for watching. Come along next time as we head for Brazil again.
Go 10 feet, stop again. This time I think it's the police instead of the military.
Get stuck in no man's land for a few days after crossing the border before we head to the incredible Pantanal jungle in search of jaguars.
Someone pulling up very close to us right now.
Oh, hi, buddy. How are you doing? Just hanging out? Cool.